Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Dolores Tarver. I am a licensed psychologist here in Georgia, and it is time for the Tea Time with Dr. Tarver is a wellness podcast. It is not intended to be a substitute for a relationship with a licensed mental health provider. So I want to thank everyone. I asked for you all to give me some suggestions of topics to cover in the months of November and December because holidays can be very difficult for people, and there are a lot of issues of transition and grief and loss that people are frequently trying to manage. And so you all came through and gave me some topics. And of course, as we approach Veterans Day, then we definitely want to take some time and honor our veterans. So today's topic, in honor of those of you who have served, and we thank you so much for your service, is it doesn't feel like home for the holidays. Veterans and their families. So you all are very aware that our veterans have a lot of different challenges that they face. 22 veterans complete suicide per day. So we're dealing with a lot of different challenges as we are working with our veterans about just being able to be well and healthy after their time of military service. They are away from families. They experience a lot of things related to combat and other transitions. There could be sexual assault that occurs, problems with leadership, problems with promotion. We know that at times our veterans of color are disproportionately sanctioned in terms of some of the offenses that they may exhibit. We know that our soldiers, they're so young. Often when they start this journey, they're learning about themselves. We know addiction rates can be very high. We know that when you are trying to just deal with being away from people that you love, being downrange, being away from your families, and the loss that has an effect on a person in their life can be very challenging. You're missing those birthdays and those anniversaries and those first days of school and those moments which can build resentment in families. And those things can have lifelong kind of consequences, if you will, in terms of family dynamics, trying to get used to being away from people and then having to reintegrate back in. And then also leaving military service and that transition into being a civilian when you've been so used to serving, and the structure that comes along with being in the military can be a very difficult transition. There can be physical and mental health issues that have occurred as a result that can be chronic, severe, and very debilitating. And so you're dealing with all of these things, and we're approaching the holidays, right? So I've lost people. There may be people that were good friends to me, that were good support, my battle buddies that I've lost. And the holidays can be a very difficult time when you've experienced that kind of loss. There could be divorces that have happened. There could be separations that have happened, being ostracized or separated or isolated from children that can occur. Then the PTSD can be very difficult for people to deal with, because now I'm trying to manage going around people and being in homes where I have no control. So these are just some of the things that can make it very uncomfortable for our veterans, in addition to PTSD, depression, anxiety, substance abuse, suicidal thoughts. There are just a number of things that could be struggles. So what are some of those triggers? Loud noises, right? If you've ever been to a holiday gathering, you know that there is noise, and that sometimes for people that can be very uncomfortable. Feeling like I have to be on, feeling like I have to be engaged and interact, and I may just not be up to it. Not feeling like I can separate and isolate without being looked at as odd, or people coming in and asking me very probing and personal questions that make me feel uncomfortable. Worrying about how I will be viewed, worrying about people knowing about my struggles, and wanting to be very private about what's going on with me. Being very irritated, very easily irritated, jumpy, very easily startled, and having challenges with people. They're so excited to see you and they want to hug you and touch you, but it makes you very uncomfortable. And then there could end up being easily being an incident at the gathering. And I don't want to be the person that caused the problem. Or I remember last year how I reacted, and I got upset, and people were looking at me, and I just felt like I ruined the holidays. It would be better if I weren't there. There is just so much stigma that's associated with mental health, and so much stigma that's associated with even being a veteran. And so people don't know how to engage with you. They don't know how to talk to you. They don't know if they need to bring up things or not bring up things. And so it can be very uncomfortable and awkward. Feeling disconnected from people. Maybe you haven't seen people in a long time. They haven't seen you. And so how do I engage with these people? Not to mention we've been in a pandemic for the past year and a half, going on 2 years. And so being concerned about even being in places with people, and am I going to be safe? What if I pick something up? I already have a lot of health conditions that are going on with me right now. I don't want to be at risk, and I definitely don't want to put other people at risk. And depending on my trauma, what if I re-experience something in this moment? What am I supposed to do with that? If I end up having a flashback while I'm in this moment, or what if I don't sleep well the night before? I have nightmares and I'm tossing and turning. Do I really want to go there? I haven't had a lot of sleep. I haven't even put on clothes. Do I even have anything to wear? And all of these things that I'm thinking about, so I can't even be present and enjoy the moment. And what if there's some resentment still in the family, right? So what if there has been a divorce or separation, or I'm trying to get reconnected with kids who have told me that they felt like I was absent for moments in their lives. And so we're going to all be there, and it's uncomfortable and awkward. Maybe I haven't seen my grandchildren. I haven't met them. Maybe I've been so estranged from the family. I've been dealing with my own medical and mental health issues that I've missed out on all of these moments. And so I feel like a stranger here. The kids may not recognize me. They may be uncomfortable with me. I'm coming back. Maybe I'm recently separated from the military, or even for some of our active duty in particular. I'm coming home for the holidays, and people haven't been able to engage with me or connect with me. So I feel like I'm going into a space as a stranger where everyone else already has a relationship. You may be walking on eggshells, family members walking on eggshells, and then you just perceive that, it's not going to go well, right? And so when we already have these images in our mind of things are not going to go well, then that makes for a very difficult experience. And I feel like I have to pretend that I'm happy, or I feel like I have to pretend that I'm comfortable when I'm not. And so I don't want to be in that situation. I don't want to feel trapped. I'm not comfortable with the exit strategies that I could have in this place. And there's too many cars and too many people and too much that can happen that's outside of my control. And it just doesn't feel like a safe space. So how can we support our veterans? Well, I think there's a couple of different things. And so I want to approach this in two different ways. One, I want to talk to veterans about some of the things that you can do in preparation. One, I want you to be very, very clear that you get to decide what feels comfortable for you. And oftentimes I talk to people about creating a plan, a holiday plan. You'll hear me say that throughout this series over the next couple of months, about how I want to engage and how I want to be engaged when I go to spaces. And so I can talk to people about it. And again, there's so much stigma and shame. We don't want people to see us as weak or deficient in some way or broken. And so we often are hesitant to talk to family members. You don't have to go into a lot of detail about what you're experiencing, but you can talk to them about what would be helpful. We can stagger times, right? So I don't have to go when everybody's going to be there. It might be a time earlier where less people are there. And then I can be strategic about how long I want to stay. So maybe I'll plan to stay for an hour. I'll engage with some people while I'm there, and then I'll be able to go, right? So I have control over that. That feels more safe to me before it starts getting too crowded and too many people. I can talk to people ahead of time so they're not asking me questions. If there's things I'm uncomfortable with, where you've been, we've been trying to get in contact with you. We've been inviting you to stuff. You haven't been there. You seem like you've been distant. So the holiday is not the time for us to be addressing that in this space around all of these people. So that may be a conversation that I can have ahead of time. Hey, I really don't want to talk about where I've been. So people can prep other folks for you. Like, don't ask what's been going on. Let's just focus on enjoying the meal, enjoying some games. We want to be mindful of not touching a person if you are very vigilant and easily startled. We want to make sure that we're mindful of the noise level. There may be that we're going to put pets up. We're not going to have pets out. We might want to be mindful about if we want to have a lot of kids around at this time. So we can be strategic in these ways, because you can always video people. And that's the other thing in your preparation as a veteran. What are some things that I can do ahead of time? Maybe I want to video with people one-on-one, connect with people one-on-one before I go into this space. So they're familiar with me, I'm familiar with them. You can take breaks. You don't have to stay there. You can create a safe space. And this is a part of your plan. Hey, if I get overwhelmed, if I get triggered, Where can I go that's going to be a safe, comfortable space for me? How am I able to either leave this environment or leave this home altogether, right? So we already have these things set up. Hey, when you're ready to go, I'll drive you. Or hey, when you're ready to go, we've got one of the rooms in the basement that no one is in that can be your safe space. You want to get that rest, right? That night before, try to, and I understand that sometimes rest just does not come. Sleep is just difficult and elusive. But you want to do your best to try to maintain a regular sleep schedule, going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time, and being very mindful of napping, because napping can throw that sleep cycle off even more. Being mindful of your medication, that you have your medication, that you're taking it as prescribed, that you're going to your counseling appointments, that you're able to address these needs that you have, so that when you're in a space with people, that you're much more likely to be comfortable because you've already talked about a plan. You've got some medication that you can take as needed. You want to make sure that you're getting that exercise and physical activity. Now, I understand that sometimes we have limitations. We're not able to get all of that physical activity in, but doing as much as you can. There are some stretches that could be your exercise. There are some yoga and other things that are easier on the body and not such wear and tear that you potentially could be doing, that you may be working with a physical therapist or another provider on. And oftentimes you're not going to want to go, but when you do go, you find that you feel better. And so sometimes it's just important to push ourselves a little bit, not too much, because we don't want to get to the point where we're so significantly overwhelmed we can't enjoy ourselves. But again, this is when I set that time limit. Maybe I'm going to be there for about an hour. And then that way I know I have a start and an end and I can feel more comfortable, right? And then for us, as we're supporting our loved ones, as we're supporting our veterans and their families, there are a lot of things that we can do. We can adopt a veteran in their family. There may be people that don't have family, people who are in places where they don't know a lot of folks. And so, hey, I can support you. I can bring a meal to you. So we can fellowship in a lot of different ways. I can bring something over in your space and we can fellowship. Or we can go volunteer on this holiday together. Hey, that takes pressure off both of us. We're doing an activity together and it doesn't feel like all eyes are on you. People are looking at you. You're doing something that's meaningful and purposeful to you, and it makes you feel of value and of worth. So we can do that together. As people who are supportive, we can go volunteer at VA hospitals. We can learn and understand more about veterans. There are a lot of organizations that support homeless veterans, that support adopting families. I'll give you all a couple of resources at the end. We can go and play games with veterans. We can go and visit veterans who may be in nursing care facilities. And so we can be very supportive of people at different walks of life in their journey. A simple thank you, a letter, a note, dropping off something, being kind. Let me mow your grass for you because I know you have physical limitations right now and you're not able to do that, but I know how much you care about how your environment looks. So let me come over and take care of your lawn for you. Or maybe we'll take you out. You can get a little something to eat or a walk, and we'll come in and we'll clean for you. We'll do laundry for you. And so it's these acts of kindness, because oftentimes we're afraid or embarrassed or ashamed to ask for support. And sometimes it's just important for me to offer support and utilize the resources that I have so that you don't have to feel like you're having to ask or beg or do something that doesn't feel very good to you, because you're thinking, well, I should be able to handle this on my own, right? You're not alone. So we want to make sure that we're providing a safe space for you to recognize that you're not alone. We can utilize technology now to send pictures and videos to people, to include people in other ways. So as you're getting more comfortable with us, just everyday kind of things, just hey, not even for the holiday stuff, but here's a meal. Hey, we played this game. We want you to be a part of it. So we're going to have you on video while we're playing this game. We're just sitting around talking and we know you weren't feeling good today, but we just wanted to hear your voice and let you hear ours, right? So we're making room and making space for people. And also, as again, I talked about, we can stagger times for people and make sure that they're comfortable, but they can also come and help us set up or help us clean up. So they're still a part of it, but they don't necessarily have to be as involved in it in ways that make them uncomfortable. So you get to do a service, you get to be a part of it, but you're not necessarily feeling like you have to be overwhelmed with engaging with so many people, because it can be tiring and exhausting, particularly if you're used to being by yourself. We can offer babysitting. for veterans so that they can go out with their spouses. We can offer opportunities to do fun things and include people, like invite your kids over and we can have activities for them, or we can drop off some activities for them and drop off treats for them and do things that'll keep them engaged, right? So we're giving you an opportunity to be a part of your family and you be a part of ours without being so intrusive in it. So there are a lot of different ways that we can support each other and love on our veterans and make sure that you're feeling loved and cared about. There are a few different resources that I just want to highlight before I go. Operation We Are Here, and they have a lot of different resources about how you can adopt a family, about how you can send books, about how you can support kids, about how you can support spouses, about how you can support veterans and learn more about what veterans may be experiencing. You have local VA resources in your town. You can go to your local news station, is often supportive of veterans. You've got the VA for veterans, but also can give us information as well. For you veterans, the VA is definitely a resource for you. And then that Veterans Crisis Line is also a resource, 800-273-82255, or you can text 838-255. So again, 800-273-8255 or 838-255 text. And these are all available on the Veterans Affairs website. So thank you, veterans, for your service. Thank you, families, for the sacrifices that you have made with your either active duty or now retired from the military service person. We thank you all. We know that it was an act of service to us, but it took away from your loved one and from your family. And so we appreciate you, and just be well.